I believe their Instagram is the Jurassic Reader. Let me look and make sure. Just a Classic Reader. Wow, I was way off. I clearly just glanced at their name and saw Jurassic.
I like Jurassic. Oh my god.
I thought they were a dinosaur. Hey, it's Sue.
And Megan,
The
Spine Breakers, with special guest, Murphy.
Murphy.
Who is actually more like a common guest.
Last week, we posted about our reading challenge, and we had an overwhelmingly positive response.
Holy shit, y'all.
Yeah, way better than we were expecting. So
Yeah.
thank you, everyone. We're so glad that you guys are excited about it.
Yeah,
and that
so
you
are
like
we.
it.
Thank you guys so much for giving a shit. That's cool.
Today, we're going to do our TBR,
Yeah.
which, like we said last time, some of these might change.
Because we are kind of notorious for doing that. So yeah, some of these may end up different,
Yeah.
but this is the plan thus far.
This is our plan so far. And let's talk about the beer real quick.
Let's do.
We have a Winter Bock
Because it's winter.
from KC Beer Co., which is from Kansas City, I'm assuming.
It is.
But this company, I've already been drinking on this and I've had it before, but they make really good beers.
Mm-hmm.
They do like traditional, this is like a seasonal one obviously, so it's a little bit fancier, but they do like traditional German style beers. And I believe the owner is German.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
At least when they were at Beer Fest, there was definitely a German guy at their booth.
Well,
I don't know if he was the owner or what,
but it was German.
someone German works there. But their beers like almost seem like they'd be kind of boring because they're just like straight up
Basic style,
you
like
know.
traditional styles of
Yeah.
beer, very straightforward.
but they're just really good. They do good job.
They make good do beer stuff.
They do good job.
They make good do beer stuff.
This video is gonna go well. So before we get into the TBR, we have a couple of things to do with the readathon to ask you guys about. What? I was just trying to emphasize it.
And you know how many fucks Murphy gives? 0, because he's getting attention.
So one of you asked about a hashtag, which like, thank you. We hadn't thought of that.
We didn't consider hashtags, so thank you for
Yeah.
reminding us that that's a thing.
Yeah, so for if you post on social media, the hashtag we are tentatively going with.
Let us know if you think this is too much.
We're going with the acronym for the name of the Read It Challenge, which is, if you got it, read it. So it'd be IYGIRI
2020.
2020 for the year. If that's too confusing or too ridiculous, let us know. We thought about going with Read It 2020, but we thought there might be...
That might be a thing already.
Yeah, like, well, I kind of looked and I didn't see it, but I was like, I feel like people, I don't know. I feel like it might be too common, so we have Ijiri.
Ijiri 2020. Yeah.
That's what we're going with for now, but if you guys hate that, let us know. We can change it.
Exactly. So I wanted to announce the first Instagram challenge. So we want to see what you got.
Yeah.
So show me what you got is the first Instagram challenge. We want to see your TBR.
Yeah.
And so be creative if you want to do a book stack, if you want to take a picture of your PDF list that Sue, I don't know how she made it because she's magical.
Or you can do like someone on Instagram, their account is Just a Classic Reader.
Mm-hmm.
They posted each book in their stories.
That was
with
pretty
each
cool.
challenge, which was pretty cool. I might actually do that as well.
Yeah. So let me see what you've got. Let us see what you've got.
Yeah. And we just like the first Instagram challenge. We're gonna do Instagram challenges.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that. We might.
we?
I think we did in our announcement video. So we decided we for sure are. We don't know yet how many a month we're gonna do.
Yeah, we were thinking just like 2 a month to go with the number of challenges there are. So more on that later.
Stay tuned for updates.
Yes. Also, I believe we have just a lot of stuff we forgot. We didn't realize it was going to be as popular as it is. So now we're like, oh, we got to really do this thing.
Like, to actually do some shit. So, yeah.
Oh, another person asked about a Goodreads group for it. And I wanted to ask you guys how many of you are interested in that, because I find Goodreads to mostly be very user unfriendly.
Yeah.
So I don't use it for anything other than just logging my books that I read. So I don't know how to create a group, but we can definitely figure it out.
Yeah, we can try to do that if y'all are interested in that. We can also do like Twitter messaging groups or however.
Yeah, we'll post as much as we can on all social media about the challenge, because we want to like keep it going, you know?
Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Also, one last thing before we get to our TBRs, I promise. We've decided that we're going to try to go through these challenges and do videos about each challenge after we complete the book we've read for it each month. Obviously, we won't be reading the same books for each challenge, so if you want to follow along, you definitely can, but
it is not a requirement.
Yeah, but we just thought that would be fun to do. So we're going to probably just go through it in order. The only possible exception would be for the challenge of your longest book. It might take me a while to finish my longest book. We'll see about that one.
Boy.
But yeah, so look out for videos each month on each challenge.
Yes.
Okay.
Let us do it.
Let's do the fucking TBR now.
TBR.
First challenge, read a book you've had on a TBR in the past.
Y'all, I have had American Gods by Neil Gaiman on so many TBRs, and I never fucking read it because I'm a little bit like, about Neil Gaiman. So I'm gonna fucking do it. 2020 is my year. It's
2020.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom. I chose The Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham. I had that on at least 2 TBRs last year and never read it, so I want to finally get to it. And it's a short book, so
boom.
Why am I ready?
Gone it.
Yeah.
So the second challenge is to read the book that you've owned the longest.
I believe the book that I have owned the longest is The Lost Queen of Egypt by Lucille Morrison. I apparently got this off my high school's library shelf. It was deleted from my high school library, so I've had it for that long.
Well.
Also, this book is apparently rare. Like, it's not in print anymore, so
that's pretty cool. I just kind of guessed on this one. Because there's a lot of books that I just don't really remember when I get books. I just know that, like, well, it's been sitting around for a while. So this book is actually one that Sue bought me, because we would buy books for each other that had, like, stupid sci-fi covers and write notes to each other in them. And so this one was T.A. by John Robert Russell, and it literally has a plant with titties on the front of it.
Plants got boobs bigger than me.
And yeah, but they're, I mean, to be fair, they look like they're like rock hard.
They got ta-tas.
Ta-tas, you know what I'm saying? So I figured I would give that a go.
Next challenge, read a book that is not a typical novel.
I plan to read Nocturne by John Connolly, which is a collection of short horror stories, I do believe. And that's another book that I have had on TBRs in the past, and it looks really cool. I've heard good things about it, so I want to check it out.
And I plan to read Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang, which is also a collection of short stories. They're most, if not all, sci-fi stories.
Nice.
I do believe.
So next is to read your longest book.
Oof, guys.
Oof.
Oof. Some people in their comments were like, my longest book is Les Mis. I'm like, oh no, that sucks for you. And then I realized that my longest book is Infinite Jest.
Oh shit,
by David Foster Wallace. No! I mean, obviously I want to read it because I bought it at some point, but like, and I feel like such a douchey lit bro for liking David Foster Wallace, but I do enjoy his writing. But the goddamn footnotes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's like the only thing about his writing.
The worst.
Mine, again, I just kind of like, stared at my shelves and then found a big one. So I chose Fellside by M.R. Carey. American Gods is actually longer than Fellside. Fellside's like 480 something pages, whereas American Gods is 500 something pages. But I really wanted to count that. I wanted to recognize that I've had American Gods on several TBRs, right. And I wanted to count it for that first challenge. So, yeah, Fellside by M.R. Carey.
Next is read your shortest book.
Mine is The Stepford Wives by Ira 11, probably. No one would name their child Ira, surely.
Yeah. Mine is a graphic novel called Bender by Michael Frizzell and D.A. Frizzell, and I got it at LibraryCon, and they are both local people, so.
Read a sequel.
I chose Stiletto by Daniel O'Malley, which is the sequel to The Rook, or is it just Rook? I think it's The Rook. But I read that like probably at least 4 years ago now, because I think it was before we started our channel. But I really liked the first book, and I don't know why it's taken me so long to pick up the sequel, but yeah.
I picked a sequel that I've not actually read the first book for, which is Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. I own Silence of the Lambs. I don't own the first book, which is Red Dragon?
I have the first one, Red Dragon. I think I have the whole series.
Do you think you think it will stand as a, without having read the first one, or should I read the first one first?
I don't know. I mean, the movies do, but I don't know how closely the movies follow the books.
Well, we'll find out.
Next is read a cover by.
And I chose When We Were Animals by Joshua Gaylord for this one. I've talked about this one on other TBRs also, because that's a thing I do. But the cover of this book is like the moon in different colors and different phases, and it just kind of looks cool, so I dug it. It's pretty simple, but it's still really cool looking.
And I chose The Book of Gold Leaves by Mirza Waheed. I'm not even sure what it's about, but it's real pretty.
Looks good. Read a book you bought on a friend's recommendation.
And I chose We by Yevgeny Zamyatin.
Yes!
Because Megan read it.
Love it.
Like, what, 3 years ago at least now?
Yeah.
Maybe more, because it was like one of the first books
that I talked about on the channel. Yeah.
And it's like the granddaddy of dystopian novels, and I've been meaning to read it for a long time.
It was muy good. So I chose Slammerkin by Emma Donoghue for this one, and I didn't actually purchase it. Sue gave it to me. But she is the reason I have it, and the reason why I want to read it.
Next is read a book with your favorite color on the cover.
I plan to read The Temple of My Familiar by Alice Walker. I need to read more Alice Walker. I think she's brilliant. I loved both of her books that I've read, and The Temple of My Familiar has my favorite color, which is green on it, so it's go time.
My favorite color is also green, and I chose Praise Song for the Widow by Polly. I'm gonna guess it's Polly because the author is a woman. Could be Paul, I don't know. Marshall. And I got this at a library sale, and it was kind of a cover buy, but I thought it looked interesting, so we'll see.
Read a book from your most owned genre.
It's probable that my most owned genre is sci-fi, so I had a lot to choose from there, but I went with Space Opera by Catherine M. Valente.
Nice.
I really like her writing style, and I've heard good things about it, about that book in particular.
Not surprisingly, my most owned genre is also probably sci-fi. So I am gonna read Early Riser by Jasper Faford.
Ford.
So it starts with 2 F's.
Maybe it's just Ford.
But it's more fun to say Faford.
Ford.
Faford. So I got that in a Book of the Month Club box. It's a sci-fi novel.
We're a little silly today.
It's been a long week now.
Next is read a book you've had so long you don't remember what it's about.
People of the Book by Geraldine Brooks. Looks cool. I liked Year of the Plague or whatever that she wrote. Or no, Year of Wonder. It's about the plague. Not Year of the Plague. Year of Wonder.
I went with Snow Falling on Cedars by David Guterson. I bought this I remember where I bought it. Not specifically, but I know I bought it in a thrift store or an antique store or something, flea market in Branson. But I don't remember what it's about. It's been years at this point. I know there's a movie also. Haven't seen it. I think it might have something to do with murder, but I'm not sure.
Read a book by one of your favorite authors.
I, of course, went with Queen Octavia.
Hail the Queen!
I wrote down Mind of My Mind, but I still haven't fully made up my mind about what order I'm going to read that series in, so I might... The more I think about it, the more I want to go back and read it in publication order, so I might go with, I think Patternist was the first one published, so I might do Patternist, but I would like to read that whole series this year, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
So I went with Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. It's been a minute since I've read anything from Miss Margaret, so...
Weirdly, every time I hear people on BookTube talk about that book, they say Elias Grace, but I'm like, it's Alias, is it not?
I was always under the impression it was Alias Grace, but...
I mean, the word is alias. It wasn't the name.
Yeah.
It's a lie. Maybe people think it's a name.
Maybe.
But I think it's about a woman who has an alias, right?
That's what I thought.
I don't know.
I could be mistaken. I could be mistook. And y'all know I'm not good at pronouncing things, so who knows?
Next is read a book by an author you've never read before.
So I got some mixed feels about this one.
Okay.
So I'm going to read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Leigh Bardugo. So this person is the person who wrote all those stupid Six of Crows nonsense novels that...
She hasn't read them.
I've not read them. I don't know if they're garbage or not. I heard way too much about them and I got real sick of it. But this is her debut adult novel.
Oh, I didn't realize it was adult.
It is adult, which is the only reason I'm reading it. Sorry, YA. I'm being real shitty now.
I thought about I actually almost bought Six of Crows once. I thought about reading it. I've heard, like, most people love it.
People do love it. Sick to goddamn death of hearing about it.
It does get just oversaturation of hearing everyone.
So it could be a great book. Like, it could be a fantastic book. I have heard good things.
People probably get sick of us talking about Octavia Butler.
They probably do, but like...
They're like, God damn it, Octavia Butler.
Listen, unless you've read the Octavia Butler, you don't...
Unless you've read the Six of Crows.
You could be right. You could be right. It could be like a life-changing thing, and I could be missing out. But yeah, so I'm gonna give it a go.
Yeah. And I went with The Stain by Ricky Duke-Garnett. I got this book because I bought a book by her called The Fountains of Neptune randomly at a bookstore because it sounded interesting. And then I got home and I realized that it was the third book in a series.
Oh, shit.
And I don't know if it's the kind of series that you have to read in order, but I thought, might as well just get the first book, and the first book was The Stain. Now, Fountains of Neptune sounded weird in a cool way. The Stain sounds weird in a very disturbing way.
Oh.
So I don't know how it's going to go.
So we both are a little bit about this one. Read your most recently purchased book.
So I had a little stack of books that I purchased most recently, so I just chose the one of them that interested me most. And that is Absolution by Olafur Johan Olafsson. And I'm not even sure what it's about because the synopsis on the back was not a synopsis. It was just like a weird excerpt.
Oh.
But it was intriguing. So I got it.
It pulled you in. I too had a little stack of books, and in that stack was Chernobyl by Frederick Pohl. And so that's a fictionalized, telling of some folks living, in Chernobyl. Or in that area.
Next is read your most recently published book.
Unbeknownst and surprisingly to my own self, I have a book that was published in 2019. It's Fate of the Fallen by Kel Cade, which I received in a Book of the Month Club box.
You probably have a lot if you've been getting Book of the Month all year.
A lot of them are
20 releases.
New-ish, because a lot of them are 2018 that I looked at, and I had picked one of those, but then I grabbed that one. I was like, 2019. So it is a fantasy novel.
And I think that my most recently published book that I own is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Was that published in 2019? I'm not sure.
18 or 19. It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty new.
Pretty new. So read your least recently published book.
So I went with what I believe is my oldest actual like physical copy of a book, which is The Glimpses of the Moon by Edith Horton. I bought this recently at a used bookstore, and it is actually a first edition of that book, which is pretty cool. I got it for like $4.50.
That's awesome. Super awesome.
And it's in really good condition too, and so it was published in 1922. So it's almost 100-year-old book.
Oh God.
I can hold it in my hand.
Does it smell good? Like, does it smell like musty old
Yeah,
pages?
the only thing that sucks is that it doesn't have a dust jacket, but I mean, a dust jacket surviving 100 years is probably pretty rare.
Probably. But yeah, that's really freaking cool. I went with Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, which was published originally in 2 volumes in, I think, 1868 and 1869, according to my Google search. I think that's about the oldest book I own. I kind of, again, I just ished it. So it's one of the oldest books that I own.
Next is to read a nonfiction book.
And I am going with She's Not There, A Life in Two Genders by Jennifer Finney Boylan. I read a fictional, like mystery, thriller-ish mystery novel, I guess, by her, called Long Black Veil. But then this is a nonfiction account, I think, of her life. She's a trans woman, so it's about her life, and I think her becoming...
Her transition.
I was gonna say like becoming her true self, but like transitioning into who she is.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I went with The Emperor of All Maladies by Siddhartha Mukherjee. This was on my list of books I want to read in 2019, and I clearly did not read it. So 2020 is the year.
That's our year. We're doing it.
Because we made a video of like 5 books we want to read in 2019. I think I read one of them.
I literally don't remember what I said in that video. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'd have to look. We should do another, like, reacting to
You know what
video.
I'm pretty sure was on it?
Fucking American Gods. Yeah, I know. It's on my TBR every fucking year, and then every year I let myself down. I'm gonna do it. So read a book that was gifted to you.
So I was trying not to choose things from Megan for all of So I went with Where I'm Calling From by Raymond Carver, which is a collection of short stories that was sent to me by Adam from Memento Mori.
Hey, Adam!
Because I won his, I think it was his 500 subscriber giveaway. So I'm an OG Memento Mori fan. And he sent me that book, and also a beautiful little painting. I think it's like ink and watercolor, maybe?
Of Alice
in Wonderland.
Yeah. Yay, Adam.
So, thanks, Adam. Now I'm finally going to read the book you sent me like 3 years ago.
I am reading a book of selected poems by E. Cummings, which was...
Cummins is better.
Cummins is better. I see, now I default to Cummins because of you instead of Cummings.
People call me Cummings all the fucking time.
That's not Cummins.
And my name is Cummins.
I even wrote Cummings on here. E. Cummins. And this is a book, I would say, like, from someone who I'm unfortunately no longer friends with, but, like, really it's more of a fortunate thing. Because they were kind of a wad. But thanks for the book.
Right.
I do love E. Cummins.
Yeah. Cummings.
Cummings!
I said Cummins again.
Damn it, Susan!
Next is read a book that you meant to read last year. Clearly I had a lot of options for this one.
Same. This is another book that's been on so many of my TBRs, and it is fucking Trainspotting by Irvine Welsh. I've seen this movie, and I've like read excerpts of the book, and quite frankly, it's the dialogue that's making me like giving me pause, because books that are written almost exclusively in dialogue are really hard to read.
You do get used to it though, I think.
Yeah, you really do.
Like the first 50 pages is really hard,
it's
and
like,
then you kind of get acclimated to it.
You know, one book I never did acclimate to was A Clockwork Orange.
Really?
I never did.
It's a very short book though. It doesn't give you much time.
No, and I was like, fuck you, like the whole time I was like, fuck you talking about? So,
Also, it's a totally made up
it's
dialect.
Right, so like a real life dialect, even like, you know, some of the other books I've read where maybe it was like a...
You're like somewhat familiar with it.
Yeah, so like it kind of helps, but so yeah, it's the dialogue that's been... Dialect.
And I chose The Sound of the Sea by my man, Colin McKay. I've only read one book by him, but I already love him just because, like, his story is so tragic, and he looks like such the sweetest little nerd man that I'm like, it makes, like, it's so sad.
And his writing is
and he,
beautiful.
like, the book I read by him, which was The Song of the Forest, was just so beautifully written, and his books are hard to get a hold of because he never got very popular, and most of them, if not all of them, aren't in print. The only one I can find that's like easy to get still is the Song of the Forest. All the rest of his books are like almost impossible to get at a reasonable price. But I have this one and House of Lies and his book of poetry, one of his books of poetry, which is Cold Night Lullaby. So that's
nice.
Those are the ones I've been able to get my hands on so far. He has only I think he has one other book of poetry, and he has an autobiography called Jacob's Ladder, but I don't know if that was even ever published officially.
Oh wow.
But
yeah, his writing is gorgeous.
Yeah, so I've just really been wanting to read more by him, but also I'm like putting it off a little bit because one, I have a limited number of his books or of his works to read, and two, I just feel like it's going to be really depressing.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait till winter's over. Like, don't read it in the winter. So fun fact, when I was looking over here to read the next challenge, I glimpsed this out of the corner of my eye, and I totally thought it said The Sword of the Sex.
The Sword of the Sex.
And I was like, what the fuck are
like
you...
me in the Jurassic reader. I don't know. And now that I think about it, I'm like, I knew that it was just a classic reader. Like, I know I looked at that and read it and thought, just a classic reader. But something about, or was it just a classic? No, I don't know even know if I'm saying it.
I thought it was just a classics reader.
Yeah, but I somehow combined the just with the classic.
To Jurassic.
And got Jurassic.
You're dynastic.
Anyway.
I can't even. Okay, we're gonna get there. So randomly choose a book from your TBR.
So I brought my TBR jar. Woo! I thought it'd be fun to just randomly pick a book from it right now.
Do it.
Would you like to do the honors?
I would love.
I will read whatever you pick out as long as it's not already on this list.
I would love to do it. Can I read it?
Yeah.
God Help the Child.
All right. That's a Toni Morrison book.
Can't go wrong with Toni
Although
Morrison.
I was going to read her books in order. Should I repick? Let's repick, because I had a plan to read her books in publication
You had a plan
order.
for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get, here we go, just deep up in here.
Deep.
Touch Not the Cat.
Okay. That's a sci-fi novel that I bought because it had a funny title.
Touch Not the Cat.
So that should be fun. I don't even remember who the author is. Mary Stewart, I want to say.
Stewart?
Stewart? I think it's Mary Stewart.
Yeah.
Your turn.
I chose SueCee by Madeline Miller because I was just looking at my bookshelf and I was like, I saw it and went, ooh, and so I picked it.
Next is read a book that reminds you of someone.
I chose On the Beach by Neville Shute because it reminds me of Susan because she really liked that book.
Nothing like mass death.
Yay, nuclear apocalypse.
The death of the world.
The death of the planet.
Humanity, I should say.
I started to read it. I never finished it, so I plan to read it.
And I chose Confessions from the Pumpkin Patch by Carlisle Toms. And that is not his real name.
I would hope not.
And I'll tell you how I know that. This reminds me of my friend Jeff, who I haven't seen in a while, actually. Because he gave this book to me. And he said, because his ex wrote it, and he said, you can have this. You can read it or not. I don't care.
That's a very Jeff thing to say.
I was like, okay.
Thanks, bud.
And I've wanted to read it just out of curiosity to see if it's any good. I have a feeling it's going to be super pretentious, but we'll
probably.
see.
I mean, his pen name is Carlisle Toms. Like,
yeah. It's
yeah.
pretty
That's pretty pretentious, man. Yeah. Okay, so read a book that you bought because of the online book community.
I chose The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which people, I couldn't even tell you one person that's hasn't spoken about this book, really. Everyone talks about this book and raves about it, and I've had it for a while and still haven't read it, so.
Get it? I chose NW by Zadie Smith, which I picked it because I heard of Zadie Smith because of YouTube. I think it's usually, what is it, like White Teeth or Baby Teeth or something?
White Teeth.
White Teeth. That gets talked about. But I happened to see NW at like a library sale or a thrift store or something and picked it up. So the author really is more of what I'd heard of on the internets than the book itself.
Next is have someone else choose a book from your shelf for you to read.
And we both had our boyfriends choose our books. And my boyfriend chose Graveyard for Lunatics by Ray Bradbury because he dug the name of it. And I was super cool with that because so do I, but also because I love Ray Bradbury. So good pick, Jeffrey.
And my boyfriend chose King Leopold's Ghost by Adam Hochschild, which was not surprising to me because it's a nonfiction book. And he mostly likes nonfiction history stuff, although he mostly likes World War II. I was surprised he didn't choose Steinbeck, though.
I'm glad that he
was
didn't.
I want to read. I like Steinbeck.
I know, but I'm glad that he didn't.
But yeah, King Leopold's Ghost is about King Leopold of Belgium, who had a large hand in the African slave trade. Wasn't a cool dude.
No, super lame. Extra
Put
lame.
it very mildly.
Super mildly, yeah. So lastly, the 24th challenge, we've made it through. We've gotten there. Barely hanging on. Is read a predicted 5-star read or like read a book that you think you're just gonna love the shit out of it.
Yeah. And I chose Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Everyone seems to love this book and it sounds like something I would really love, and I don't know why it's taken me this long to read it. I think it was also in my 5 books I want to read. Maybe. I don't remember for sure, but
I don't remember what I picked for that, so I don't know. I chose Sula by Toni Morrison because Toni Morrison has a way of just like wrecking me. So I feel like I've loved everything that I've read from her thus far, and I feel like I will continue to do so.
So that's our TBR. We're finally through. I feel like it's going to be a long-ass video. Yeah, so we'd love to see your TBRs. Post them on Instagram if you don't have Instagram. Post them on Twitter, or let us know if you make a TBR video.
We'd love to watch it.
We'd love to check that out.
Yes.
Yeah, and quickly, this beer is really good.
I like it.
Tasty beer.
Tasty beer.
Solid.
Good beer.
Yep. That's it.
That's it.
If you guys, we're, like we said last time, we've never done this before, so we are just kind of making things up as we go along.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if you have any suggestions for things you would like us to do for this challenge, or things we're doing that you don't like, like the hashtag, please let us know, and we can adjust accordingly if it's a majority.
Yeah, for sure. Because we want people to have fun doing this, because like we said, we had a really surprising amount of interest in it, so like we really want you guys to enjoy it and have a good time. So if there's something that would help you to do that, let us know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you for watching, and
we'll see you next time.
Yeah.